In 1348, the Black Death swept through Europe, killing roughly 1 in 3 people. The treatments of the time were acts of desperation. People whipped themselves to beg for divine mercy, or carried sweet-smelling herbs to ward off what they thought was bad air. Physicians relied on the ancient theory of the 4 humours: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile, believing illness was just these liquids falling out of balance. Blaming an excess of fluid, doctors used leeches or blades to drain a patient's blood to restore harmony. This flawed system went unchallenged for over 1,000 years. The Christian Church controlled all medical education and decreed that the ancient texts of Galen were absolute. To question these centuries-old books was to commit a sin against God. Humanity was trapped in a stagnant era where medicine was not a science, but an unregulated collection of traditions and religious dogma. Progress was impossible as long as the answers were only found in the past. This intellectual monopoly began to crumble during the Renaissance. The arrival of the printing press meant that new observations could be shared and debated much faster than the authorities could suppress them. Andreas Vesalius bypassed ancient theory by performing his own human dissections. He published detailed anatomical maps that proved Galen had made over 200 mistakes, including the claim that the human jaw was made of 2 bones like a dog's, rather than 1. Decades later, William Harvey applied this same skepticism to the human heart. Galen had taught that the liver was a factory, constantly manufacturing new blood that the body then consumed. Harvey decided to test this by observing the hearts of cold-blooded animals. His research proved that the heart functioned as a mechanical pump. He demonstrated that blood is not consumed, but recycled through a closed system of arteries and veins, circulating in a continuous loop. By proving that the most revered ancient texts were physically impossible, Vesalius and Harvey established a new standard for medical truth. From this point on, anatomical knowledge would be built on what could be seen and measured, not what was written in antiquity. Even with a better understanding of anatomy, 19th-century hospitals remained death traps. Without a known cause for infection, patients who survived complex surgeries often died days later from mysterious hospital fever. The turning point came from the laboratory of Louis Pasteur. Using a microscope, he challenged the popular idea of spontaneous generation, the belief that microbes simply appeared out of thin air from decaying matter. In 1861, Pasteur proved that these microbes were actually carried in the air and were the direct cause of decay. This was the birth of germ theory, the realization that invisible organisms are the true drivers of disease. Robert Koch turned this theory into a diagnostic tool. By using industrial dyes to stain and identify specific bacteria, Koch was able to isolate the exact microbes responsible for massive killers like tuberculosis and cholera. These discoveries coincided with a surgical revolution. James Simpson introduced chloroform to manage pain, a technique that gained widespread social acceptance after Queen Victoria used it during childbirth. Meanwhile, Joseph Lister used Pasteur's research to create an antiseptic environment using carbolic acid, finally killing the germs that caused postoperative deaths. For the first time, doctors weren't fighting an abstract bad air. They could see the specific biological enemy under a lens and had developed the chemical tools to neutralize it. Identifying a germ is one thing. Stopping it in a crowded industrial slum is another. In the 1800s, the filthy living conditions of the working class made disease a matter of national survival. During a London cholera outbreak in 1854, Dr. John Snow mapped the deaths and traced the source to a single contaminated water pump. He proved that cholera was carried in the water, not the air. This proof forced the government to act. The 1875 Public Health Act mandated massive public engineering projects to build modern sewer systems and provide clean water, demonstrating that public health was now a responsibility of the state. This partnership between science and government accelerated in the 20th century, beginning with Alexander Fleming's 1928 discovery of a curious mold in a petri dish. Fleming observed clear kill zones where the penicillium mold had destroyed the surrounding bacteria. He had discovered the world's first antibiotic, but he lacked the resources to mass-produce it. It took the immense pressure of World War II to turn this lab curiosity into a global lifesaver. To treat thousands of wounded soldiers, the U.S. government funded the industrial-scale production of penicillin, changing the nature of modern medicine forever. Brilliant individuals discover these breakthroughs, but it is the funding of the state and the urgency of war that scales them up to save millions of lives. After the Second World War, the focus shifted from managing crises to providing universal care. The belief emerged that health was a fundamental right that the state was obligated to protect. In 1948, Health Minister Aniran Bevin launched the National Health Service. By making medical treatment free at the point of delivery, the NHS transformed healthcare from a private luxury into a public service available to every citizen. This institutional support provided the foundation for the high-tech era. The discovery of DNA's structure moved medicine to the molecular level, allowing researchers to develop targeted therapies that address the genetic roots of disease. Today, we have replaced bloodletting with MRI scans, robotic surgery, and gene editing. These modern miracles were never a certainty. They are the hard-won result of a centuries-long conflict, where evidence-based science and government intervention finally broke the thousand-year grip of ancient dogma.